Hello, and welcome back to PiscesPrince. I'm your host, Nick Marshall, and today this episode is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be talking a little bit about, I'm going to be talking a little bit about myself. This is a type of format that I've often opted out of releasing or recording any episodes and releasing under the podcast name because I often felt uncomfortable of just simply talking about what's going on in my own life or just saying what I'm generally thinking about, often just to simply give myself some privacy, or I guess I just simply feel uncomfortable sometimes. But what I've been thinking about recently has often been plaguing my mind so much that it does go on theme of what I've been thinking I keep saying that the podcast is about. The podcast, PiscesPrince, is a reflection of me. I'm simply talking about what's generally being on my mind, and the majority of the episodes that I've released so far have been talking about TV shows and, tropes that, things that interest me. And if I want to, create episodes of me just generally talking about what's been on my mind, in general, outside of TV shows, it's on brand of what I'm talking about. So I'm just simply gonna just stick to both formats and just simply say what the hell, just simply record and just simply remind myself that this is a safe place. PiscesPrince is my safe place. And if I don't want to talk about something, I'll just simply not talk about it. And if something I feel more comfortable talking about, I'll just simply talk about it and I'll feel not so anxious to put it out there in the world. So today I'm going to be talking a little bit about my relationship to romance, specifically crushes. This episode is going to be titled It's Just Me because that's all I've been thinking about lately, these past few months. It's just me. And as I'm talking right now, I'm very, scared. I'm getting very anxious as I'm talking. I can feel my heart beating because it's so, anxiety inducing to just really get there because I never really talked about relationships out loud to anyone, mostly to close people in my own little social circle. Well, not social circle, really, it's just my older sister, but it's so, it's just so nervous. I'm feeling very nervous, but I'm taking risk today. So I didn't write a whole lot about. I didn't really write an entire outline, just to give myself more creative, natural conversation of an overflow of thought. So I'm just gonna continue. My relationship to romance has always been a little complicated. I can never really pinpoint on what happened or how I got so interested in the whole idea of romance, of how I started to just fixate on romantic tropes and media. I guess to give more context, my zodiac sign is a Pisces, and Pisces are very romantic. They're always imaginative, they're always in their thoughts, and that's me. I am a Pisces. And romance is often the thing that some of most Pisces are mostly interested in. We're mostly romantics. We're kind of in love with the whole idea of romance because romance in general is so it's presented to us as this very huge and important milestone thing, this thing that can just simply happen to us, and it can just fulfill us in so many ways, and it can just simply complete us, I guess areas that influenced my whole infatuation with romance is, I think, mostly music, TV, especially TV, and this is also embarrassing, but Wattpad books. Yes, Wattpad books. I read Wattpad books from time to time. I even like had a period where I wrote Wattpad, like I wrote books for Wattpad, and yeah, I am an avid reader of Wattpad books. Some of my genre of like books I read on Wattpad is it's mostly romantic like books and like novels. Some of them are very edgy, some of them are a little, but most of the time it's mostly just simply romance novels. And I can honestly say like those books are like so much better than like any other book I might see in my like own like public library or in Barnes and Noble. Like those books written by these anonymous people have so much like interesting storylines and like so much edginess and drama than like any other books I've ever like read in my entire life. Like so it's just so amazing how what like authors on Wattpad are just so much better than like any other author that's been critically acclaimed. Like who needs to read a Jane Austen novel when a book by like Belly underscore Dragon King writes an entire series of novels about how this broken like how this edgy guy swooped a book smart girl off her feet. Who needs to read a Jane Austen novel when you got a story like that? But I'm getting too far ahead of myself. So yeah, Wattpad has been the true criminal or culprit of my infatuation of romance in general. But that was later on in life. I think I never really been I think it just happened automatically. But I can't say it truly all those things truly took a form when I entered second grade. And I met this girl who I remember so clearly. Like, I don't know, it was like an instant crush. And I've just been so infatuated with her and it was the type of crush that you just simply listen to love songs and you picture them. I'm not the only one who's done this. Everybody has done this. Seriously, everyone's done this. When you like someone, like you're so up like I was about to like restrain from saying obsessed, but like yeah, it's an obsession when you're so infatuated and like low key obsessed with someone, you're gonna like seek out other areas that remind you of them. So like love songs are like the perfect outlet of like thinking about them all the time. So I've I just I've always it was that type of crush. And nonetheless, we were friends and best friends actually. And there were like so many moments where it felt like we were a couple, but we weren't a couple. But it was just so I often think about her sometimes. Like it was just so just elementary school little crush, not stuff. And I think that like my infatuation, my own like crush on her, it did set the record. I think it did set like a whole like timeline of my own little like being like me actually starting to like be interested in romance and like wanting connections with people. And it didn't stop there. I mean, when I left my elementary school, I started to like go into a whole new environment of my middle school and high school years. like I stepped into a whole new environment. I wasn't with the people I was through pre-K and 5th grade. I've now I went to a whole different middle school than what my elementary school classmates were going to. So I've entered in a new environment and I'm feeling very scared. I'm feeling very fish out of water, new kid energy. It's all those things piled into like one very anxious 11-year-old boy named Nick. And I meet another girl who caught my eye, and we've also became very good friends. And we've I was often like very I just had a huge crush on her too, and didn't work out for good reasons. And again, it's just like I've always just had so much. I can't. I don't know. I just can't really like put it into words. I've always just had crushes on people, and that that didn't stop there. Like I think a few months after that light rejection, I've ended up like liking someone else, and then that didn't last pretty very long because around I think October of 2019, I started to like crush on someone else, and like that didn't last. And like we were also friends too. Like there's a pattern in this behavior. I'm off like I don't like crush on random like people. It's always like people who I kind of like become friends with, but it's never really like close friends to where there's like a relationship. There's already like a friendship like ground to like be afraid of destroying. It's more like this whole gray area of like maybe they like me and maybe they don't. So I was kind of involved with someone in well, not involved. Why do I keep saying involved? We were not dating anyway. But how do I even explain it at all? Like it wasn't okay. So like in eighth grade, I've become sort of infatuated with someone in my class, and we started to become more close. And within the next year, I was going through so much hardship, and this person was there through all of it, seeing me at my worst, and basically was helping me pick up some pieces. Well, not 100% helping, but they were there to like help me in some ways by simply having a shoulder for me to cry on, sort of helping me pick up the pieces of my own life. This went on from 2019 of fall until October of 2021. And my whole relationship to this person was my entire world. I've I've talked about this in like past recordings of like recording the podcast of how this relationship was like the biggest thing that's ever happened to me, and how this person did this. And well, not I wasn't really going into like the entire thing, but it's like I've milked the whole nature of that relationship for a very prolonged period of time, to where even like it made me like so hesitant to even like start recording this episode in general, because I didn't really want to continue talking about this relationship. But in order to like get to the point of like what I'm just simply saying about this episode, it's like what's titled "It's Just Me." I would have to like just simply simply like tell my like my whole some parts of my timeline and just simply mention it. So yeah, that relationship was basically a huge deal, and for a moment I just felt so infatuated and low key, yes, obsessed. And for a minute I sometimes felt like I was in love, and but the relationship just wouldn't make sense in the long run. And also, that person was also, towards the end, kind of standoffish and kind of mean. Well, not mean, but like just acted so weird around me because and just made me feel so insecure. They didn't really like gone out of their way to make me feel insecure, but like there was just some things they did to make me feel insecure. I've talked about in a past episode dating stories from Reddit of how this is the this person kind of was sort of I felt like they were very embarrassed to be even like associated with me. So it's like when I look back, how can I even like have feelings for this person? How do I even continue to have feelings for this person when they didn't even like feel that comfortable? When they didn't even like feel they just felt ashamed. Or I don't even think they felt ashamed, but their actions kind of made me feel like that they were ashamed of me. But anyway, that didn't work out. And after that relationship ended, I spent the last 2 years trying to get over them. I've tried so many ways to just simply block it out of my mind. I've prolonged the process. And when I finally got over them, it was when we graduated, which was in 2 months ago. I'm recording this it's June 30th when I'm recording this. So yeah, it's 2 months ago when we when I fully started to like get over it. I truly started to get over it. I truly started to like slowly get over it when I found out that they had a girlfriend. And when I found out, I was in shambles and I was like having a whole emotional breakdown at like 11, almost in the middle of the night. And nowadays I'm completely fine. So why record this episode entitled It's Just Me? Well, here's the thing. Earlier this year, I started to like realize that I wasn't really crushing on anybody. I wasn't really like looking at any like potential romantic partners. I was just simply by myself. And it really started to like sink in when like a few days after graduation is when I started to think, wait a minute. When was the last time that I've generally had a crush on somebody and I was sort of in something? Because the last time I've actually was in something was like 2 years ago, and it was like in April of 2022 when I was sort of talking to someone, and it only lasted for like a week, and that ended with me getting ghosted. And that was the only time I've ever like truly like got into like a casual sort of thing, but it was very short lived. But other than that, when was the last time I've generally like enjoyed my own singleness? And it really started to kick in, and I just felt so weird. It started to feel very surreal that I really like focus all of my energy on potential romantic partners. And I don't really it's not like I don't know how to be alone and I don't enjoy my own company, because believe me, I enjoy my own company very much. Like very much. Like I am like a born loner. I felt very uncomfortable for the first time realizing that I haven't really truly been enjoying my own singleness. Hell, like last year, like on Valentine's Day, I said my unofficial New Year's resolution was to be single and fabulous. Exclamation point. Because, I mean, I've never really been in a relationship, but it's like there was always someone else around to like like scratch the romantic itch, you know? There was always someone else around, and now I'm in this place of where there's no one else but me. It's just me. So, what is there to do? Well, one, I tried downloading a dating app, which that didn't work. I didn't even last a full day on said dating app. I've downloaded like maybe 3 and used 1. And this one dating app I've used, that dating app, like, dating apps now scare me a little bit because when I went into that dating app, I couldn't even tell if the people were real. Like, one account, they had an Instagram handle, and I literally looked up the Instagram handle, and that account didn't even pull up. So now I'm thinking, did they delete their Instagram account, or is this a bot? And also, this account is like matching me up with like people who shouldn't even be on the app, but it's just it was just so crazy, you know? And also, I wasn't really that the people that they were suggesting. This is gonna make me sound a little shallow, and I don't really mean to sound shallow, but like some of the people that they were like that they were like matching me up with, like I was seeing, I wasn't really feeling very some of the, I wasn't really feeling a whole lot of sparks. And around this time, I was still kind of like attached to my quote unquote ex because I still had rose tinted glasses on. When you compare other people to your ex or an ex of some sort, that person, your ex, will always come out on top because that's how you know when you genuinely like someone, you genuinely had feelings for this person because like there was a period of where this person could never look ugly to me. This person could never look ugly to me. They were just the most gorgeous person in the entire room to me. They're just so perfect. And that illusion kind of like disappeared when they got like a bowl cut. What they got a bowl cut. Yes, they got a bowl cut, and it didn't really work with their aesthetic. I don't really know what they were trying to do, but not throwing shade, but like, come on, I've seen you do better. Anyway, another thing I've did was simply journal. I've journaled a little bit about this feeling, about feeling a little bit restless. Like, what can I do? This is uncomfortable. I never really truly enjoyed my own singleness before. I don't really know what to do. So I've journaled a whole lot. Another thing I did was simply talk to close people in my life. I talked to my sister about this. I've talked about it with a therapist of mine. And I mean, like, they both had, like, very similar answers. I mean, like, they just simply said, it's very normal. And my sister said, I would suggest not really getting into anything because of X, Y, and Z. And I said, like, yeah, I agree too. And now I just, it's just me. It's just me. What can I do? Another another reason why it feels uncomfortable is because it's kind of like my routine. It's like my unofficial like routine. And as a neurodivergent person, I thrive on routine, especially when it's an unofficial and a very invisible routine because I've been obsessed or infatuated with romance. I've always been crushing on people since I was 8 years old. It's like now I'm 18 years old and there's no one. I feel like I don't like anyone sometimes. Like I can generally just be by myself, and that's a good thing. But also, am I ever going to be very open to like like let someone in so many ways? Like right now, I'm generally fine. Like there's nothing really wrong with being single. But now I'm like wondering, can I like is this like can I live like this forever? Am I open to like a relationship? Am I open to like getting married one day? Like what what are the steps for me to like go and like to like go through going forward. And it's freaking me out. I gotta admit, it's fucking freaking me out, y'all. Like, it's freaking me out because I'm experiencing like a new form of contentment, and it's not like it's contentment without anyone else's input. That's a great thing. But as someone who seeks out validation through outside like forms, it's sort of uncomfortable, but it's also a good thing. I think I need to like continue to like experience this and just simply like enjoy my own company. But it is a pattern, because let me go back to the whole neurodivergent thing of like me needing a routine. It's like I've often like heard that having crushes, it feels like it's a good distraction to like outside things going on in your life, because of course it's a distraction. And like looking back to like all the people that I've liked in the past, and I can truly narrow it down to like 5 people I've generally like had some sort of feelings for. Really, like if I really generally narrow it down, it's really like 2 in my whole life, and that was like when I was 8, and like when I met this other person at when I was 13 years old, and whatever. But still, there is a whole pattern of me feeling one feeling other than just giddiness and like infatuation and like blushing behavior, distracted, because I was dealing with like so many other like not so great things in my own life with everything. And and other than like TV and video games and other hyperfixations that I've had in my own life to like help me check out during terrible times, crushes were also the extra dopamine that I needed to feel extra distracted, because who cares if my dog died? I had to like watch my dog die. I have a crush. Well, I didn't have a crush then, but like I'm just like providing examples. Let me provide a better example that's not really included to me. Who cares if like I'm late on my bills? I have a crush. Who cares that I haven't cleaned my room yet? I have a crush. It's the perfect distraction, because especially if you're like a very sensitive person and you're very romantic, and I often, yes, I am a romantic. I'm also a cynic. So I'm a very cynical romantic at heart. I am both. How can you be both? Well, you just can. No one is truly one thing. It's very complicated, but I won't get into that. Another thing I think about is like, do I prefer being in a relationship or having crushes? Well, because I've never really been in a relationship, obviously I like having crushes, because like it's very distracting. It's distracting, and it's also very it releases extra dopamine. So, and it's also very exciting sometimes. I've written in my notes. It's like it's kind of like very exciting, because you're wondering, do they like you back? Is this going anywhere? It's kind of like a classic will they won't they storyline, or on a sitcom of some sorts. And it's like this thing that keeps changing all the time, and it's like so many games to play. Ooh, right? And it's just, again, just in general, it's just distracting. It's very distracting. Another outlet that's been really weighing on my mind of like just simply that makes me question my whole like that's making me think about relationships so much in this past like few months, because half of my episodes are based on like romantic relationships, is being hyper fixated right now on Sex in the City. Sex in the City is a hit show that came out in 1998 that focuses on the standing power of female friendship by juxtaposing it with romantic relationships. And this show so far has like, I mean, I've finished it last year, but like I'm rewatching it right now because it's on Netflix, and that was the best thing that ever happened. well, not the best thing that's ever happened. The Fairly Odd Parents coming back to Netflix was the best thing, but that's not here or there. Let's talk about Sex in the City. One note that I'm like, a few notes that I'm like seeing on Sex in the City is that the show mostly reinforces the stigma of being single for like a prolonged period of time. And because it's mostly about four women, it's mostly talking about how women just simply need a man, which that's not true. I mean, women don't really ultimately find happiness through marriage and kids. Not that they can't, but that's not the only thing that a woman is meant for. Another note is relationships and dating is mostly like treated on the show as like competition or like goals or like something you have to like slog through in life just because. Like, I guess I can't really explain it as just like wedding episodes. It's less about generally being in love with the person, but it's more like flexing status of like reaching a milestone in your life. It's less about romance. It's like I even wrote dating doesn't equal love. And it's often treated as like this status symbol of like how this person needs to fit these very shallow boxes of like, and most of the like wedding episodes, I think one episode in season 1 where one woman that Carrie knows marries, they all like these outside women who are outside the friend group, they all married the same guy. They married an investment banker or like someone who's like in a very upper class position in like the main Manhattan world of like this super elite bubble that the women are in. It's less about romance and more about status. I think I feel like I did a terrible job at explaining this, but like that's kind of how those are really the only notes I have on that. So I'm not really crushing on anybody right now. I'm just sitting in my own little bubble. I'm focusing on myself. But that doesn't mean I don't feel a little this is embarrassing. I'm feeling a little flirty. I'm entering like a little bit of a sort of like craziness in my area. I'm sort of entering a little bit of flirtiness. I'm in kind of like a flirty era. A flirty era, yes, a flirty era. Mostly I've turned to social media to sort of I have like a few social media crushes. A few. Really two, but social media has really I think social media crushes they're kind of like scratching the itch and that'll do for now. There's this one TikToker I've found like recently like in April and they're so oh my god, they're so like hot and they're just I'm entering like a little bit of a craziness. This makes me sound a little like a little weird, but like low key we all have social media crushes. But anyway, all I can really say about this whole episode of like it's just me. I think on one hand, I think this period of my life needs to be longer. I think it truly needs to like I truly need to like stay in this area period this I think I need to stay in this period of my life for a while. I don't really need to find my first partner for anytime soon because I think I have a lot of issues or like a lot of extra things to like sort out. And I've also realized that by going to therapy and also by simply like journaling like and like having a lot of time to like self-reflect in my own like little private time of like moments of thinking, I do have some issues that make me push away sometimes. And those are things that I need to work on before I can truly like be open to make room for someone else in my own life in a more healthy, less codependent, less seeking validation way. So all I can really like take from this whole period of like it's just me is enjoy that it really is just me right now. Like there's nothing wrong in being single. I keep saying this. There's nothing wrong with being single. I have my own peace. And in the last year I've also like enjoyed a little bit of my own singleness too. But I was still of getting over my ex, but like truly this year I feel more emotionally free. I don't feel that attached to past people. I've evolved in my own way since 13 years old. And life didn't end when I was 15, when I was going through some sort of heartbreak. I've changed and just simply, and still learning every day to like value myself, value my own alone time. Like, I need to like implement ways to like truly enjoy my own independence because even though I desire my own, I desire connection with other people in both ways of like platonic and romantic, I need to like simply like truly enjoy my own alone time and truly like generally build myself up to generally let people in. And I think that's the whole like I feel like that's why most relationships end because some people are dating and they don't generally like themselves. So I feel like we all need to like enjoy this period of like it's just me because we need to like have those moments where it's really just us right now and just simply enjoy being alone, but don't feel lonely. Keep those relationships that you already have in your life like alive and just simply find ways to like truly enjoy your own independence and build your own independence up and just simply not be so hard on yourself when you feel like you're behind because we're not really behind because everything happens on its own term and everything will happen when it needs to be and just simply relax. Take the steps that you need to take right now to just simply get to the place that you need to be. In other words, again, just simply enjoy this period of like, it's just you. Just like how I will enjoy this period. I'll try to enjoy this period. I'll grow to enjoy this period of it's just me. And that's kind of all I have for today. So, anyway, thank you for listening to me spill my guts and rant a little bit. I think I generally needed this, and this generally made my day. And yeah, thank you for listening to PiscesPrince. Okay. I don't really. Anyway, thank you for listening to PiscesPrince. New episodes will come out every Friday and every occasional Tuesday. But I gotta say, I'm kind of like sticking to a brand new schedule, and I gotta say, I think I can confidently say that new episodes of PiscesPrince will officially drop every Friday and occasionally every Tuesday as well. So you'll be getting new episodes sometimes Tuesday, but really you'll get 2 episodes. You'll occasionally get 2 episodes a week, but mostly you'll get new episodes Friday. So new episodes of PiscesPrince comes out every Friday. You can follow the podcast on social media at PiscesPrince Podcast on Instagram, all lowercase. You can follow my Instagram, nick.marshall02. You can see you can like listen to the podcast on Spotify and possibly anywhere you stream podcast. You can also find the podcast on YouTube for much more easier access if you want to feel a little bit more OG, I guess. I don't know how that's OG, but I really enjoyed making this, like recording this episode, and episodes like this are more likely to come. So Anyway, I enjoyed talking to you guys, and we'll talk later. All right, I'm gonna go wash some clothes and get the rest of my day started. It's 12:49, so I'll see y'all later. Bye.